to reflect on and report to the House on the ANZAC Day celebrations in Perth and throughout Western Australia last month. Many people take for granted that each year ANZAC Day services, whether the large service at the Kings Park War Memorial or smaller suburban services, just happen as a fixture of the Australian calendar. Nothing could be further from the truth. Many organisations, not least of all the RSL, pour countless hours and resources into making sure that each and every year our veterans, both living and deceased, are appropriately remembered and commemorated. The work they do in organising and coordinating ANZAC Day events should rightly be noted and applauded in this place. As well as the organisational resources, Lotteries West rightly deserves recognition for funding a large slice of the statewide ANZAC Day events. This year they contributed nearly $850,000, roughly half of which went to commemorative events in the regions. 94 regional centres were direct recipients of the funding. This year's Kings Park Dawn service attracted an estimated 30,000 people, not to mention those watching on TV in the live telecast. The Dawn service in Albany, you'll be pleased to know, Mr Speaker, attended by the Premier, had over 5,000 people, with a similar number at the parade later that morning. And approximately 3,000 people got to the Dawn service at Busselton. The main parade through Perth attracted crowds in excess of 20,000 people, on top of the 6,500 direct participants who marched. Wars, conflicts and peacekeeping operations to the current day have claimed the lives of more than 102,000 Australians, including the horrendous losses suffered during the First World War that saw 62,000 dead or held as prisoners. 7,000 of those were Western Australians. To put that into perspective, WA lost nearly 15% of our eligible male population in 3 years. That would be the equivalent of losing 56,000 people in today. One can only imagine the devastation felt across our state at that time. On ANZAC Day, we remember all those men and women who have served in our Defence Forces and acknowledge the sacrifices they have made and the legacy of their actions. ANZAC Day is when we collectively pay tribute to the selflessness, courage, strength and mateship of our veterans. Characteristics that help shape the Australia we know and our way of life. It is fitting to acknowledge in this place the commitment to supporting ANZAC Day shown by RSL WA and Lotteries West, as well as others, to ensure that even after more than a century since the ANZAC Day story was born, it remains important to all Australians and cornerstone of the wider Australian story. The McGowan government is proud to support ANZAC Day events and will continue to do so, lest we forget.
Thank you, Minister.